Hey Ellie, hey Sienna, this is my second video for you. I have had the prompting to do these videos for a long time, and to answer, before I do the video, to answer a commenter's question, Michael Nelson, who is worried that I am dying. First off, we never know when our time is going to come. When I got really sick in 2018, it put a large magnifying glass on my mortality, so I'm not saying I'm gonna die anytime soon. But when we get a prompting for something like this, prompting to do these videos for my daughters has been going on for almost a year now. It's important to listen to that and act on it. And I don't understand the mystery of it. Just that I feel very spiritually strong that these YouTube videos I'm doing for my daughters and my journal are an incredibly important part of my legacy I'm leaving behind. And in fact, they're far more important than the financial legacy I'm going to leave behind to my daughters. And so I hope that answers that question. Ellie and Sienna, this is video number 2, and interestingly enough, after what I just said, this video is about keeping your house in order. Keeping your house in order is a metaphor. It's a way to describe making sure your life is secure in a few areas. In my past video, I talked about physical, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual health. That will guard, taking care of those 4 things will guard against having to spend a lot of money to take care of your health as your life goes on. And that's the first part of this video, is the financial part of your house. It's an incredibly important part of your house, the financial caring and being a good steward of the money and resources you have. Now, there's different ways you can live life, and if you're married or with someone, in a traditional situation, the man is the breadwinner and the woman stays and takes care of the home. As we've gotten into modern times, there's now a lot of capable women who are working and providing and being the breadwinner, or at least assisting as co-breadwinners with a man or their partner. So regardless of the situation you are in, you end up in, girls, whether you are alone with someone, whether you are the breadwinner or whether they are, this still applies. This still applies to the person that you want to partner with or marry, or whatever meaning you give to relationships. This still applies, because you want to look for someone who as a provider, as a protector, if it's a man, knows how to keep their house in order, because it is a protection against the chaos and the inevitable challenges of life. We live in an economic system and in an economic world. And even if that changes in the future, even if we go away from current monetary systems of dollars and currencies to cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, the system of economics and bartering is going to be here, barring any kind of major global disaster. And so I place my bets on that the world is going to maintain an economic system for the foreseeable future. So that's just a little bit of the reasoning behind what I'm going to say, and then I'll go into some details now. So one of the very first things to understand when you are thinking about your financial house is, what should you do when you get $1? I had a mentor, Jim Rohn, who explained, what should you do with $1? What should a kid do when they get $1? And it applies to adults and all the way through your entire life. So you have this dollar. Here it is. It's not really here. It's a giant dollar, and I know dollars aren't this big. But stick with me. A portion of this dollar, a portion of that dollar that you receive at any given moment, and whether it's $1 or $10 or $1,000. Any portion of money is yours to keep. There is a book called The Richest Man in Babylon who explains this key concept, that whenever you are paid or that you receive money, a portion of that yours is to keep, and that money never leaves your stewardship. It is in your stewardship forever. And that's not a concept that you're learning in school, girls. You're probably not learning that. I had to learn this at a much later age in life. When I was in my early 20s, first working, and even when I was working at Burger King when I was 17 and 18 in high school, I spent everything I got. If I got $200 for a paycheck, I spent it on food and stuff I didn't need. Unfortunately, I did not get taught that a portion of all my money I earned was mine to keep, or if I was taught it by my parents, I was not very focused and I did not listen. So that's the first key concept of keeping your house in order, is you're building this financial and economic portion of your house. You are growing a nest egg. And when you think of a nest egg, think of it like you are growing this pile, this pile that grows, that will eventually grow by itself. When you're first starting with $1 and $10, if you have nothing saved, it's hard to imagine that you can build a financial pile that will one day just grow by itself without you touching it. It almost will take on a life of its own. And that's a hard concept to grasp until you start to see it in action. You have to start to see it in action. I've been working for about 13, going on 14 years now, and I've been maxing out my 401k every year. I had to give half of it away, unfortunately, due to my divorce, so it set me back. But even with that setback, my 401k is starting to get to a point where I can see it almost growing by itself. Almost. And I give it another 2 or 3 years, and I think I'll reach the point where the pile, like the financial pile, gains consciousness, is how I'll put it. And when that financial pile gains consciousness, it's like this unstoppable life form that's going to grow arms and legs, and as long as you take care of it, as long as you are a good steward, you treat it with care. You do not take out of this pile any more than how much it's growing by itself. You never take more from the beehive than the extra honey that's dripping off of it. You never take more from the golden goose than the eggs that it's producing. You never tear into the golden goose itself for resources. This is an incredibly important and powerful lesson. And I'm not there yet with my financial pile, but I see it. I have the vision. I see it. I can see it happening, and it may not happen till I'm completely white and Gandalf looking. Gandalf, the wizard from the Lord of the Rings. It may not happen until then. But I have this philosophy, this dream, that if every parent created a golden goose and taught their kids how to nurture the golden goose is just a metaphor for a financial pile of resources and assets that is self-sustaining through interest payments, dividends, and appreciation in value, meaning the value goes up. For example, real estate, homes, prices have gone up significantly in the last year or two. That it is a self-sustaining resource. And that should be the goal of everyone who's looking to retire someday. And if every parent, every father, every leader of a household had the dream to create a golden goose and teach their children to nurture it, and on their passing, pass to their children the golden goose, all the stocks, all the peer-to-peer lending loans that you're lending money out to other people and they're paying you interest, all the rent payments, all the fundraised real estate dividends, all the cryptocurrency, staking your cryptocurrency that earns you extra currencies, all the YouTube advertising money, which I don't make any money from YouTube. I'm not even part of the YouTube partner program at this time, so I'm not earning any money from my videos. It is the struggle with money that this world, certainly the United States, but this world would go away if fathers were good leaders and created a golden goose for their children. And that is part of my purpose and legacy to leave behind upon my passing, is that you girls will each get your own golden goose, that you'll have a pile of money and resources that sustains you so that you don't have to work like I am. I have to go to work. It is a must to provide for my livelihood and you girls' livelihood. But if the plan goes well, and in 20 or so years, when I'm 64, 65, and am retiring, there should be enough that upon my passing, if you girls are working, you won't have to. Now, I understand that it can be a incentive to just be lazy and not care if you know you're getting a golden goose. So I want to make it very clear to you girls that this is not my intention for leaving behind a financial legacy. Of course, when I die, you girls are free to do what you want. There will be nothing I can do to stop you, even if I'm a ghost to haunt you. Nothing I can do, probably. But the point is, now you have the means to live life in whatever dream form it takes for you. And not many people get to live life this way. We are dependent on others, most of us. I am dependent on others right now. And that's how it is for most people. But then you have some people who can live life in a way that they can dream up stuff and just do it. So I'll give you an example, girls. There's a channel, That Was Epic. 3 words all together, search That Was Epic. And there's a reason I gave away $100 at the Westerner last week. Let's see, not last week, 3 days ago on Wednesday. Because I wanted to feel what it was like to just give to people. I love giving to people. Sienna, you are exceptional at giving to people. It's something you just do naturally. And Ellie, you are a giver too. But you also have more of a focus on the various things in life because of your extremely high intellect. You are going to get your hands in a lot of pies, metaphorically speaking, in life, I can tell. So anyways, if you go to That Was Epic and look at his channel, he's got 6 million subscribers or so. I have no doubt he's getting paid multi-millions a year from YouTube, and probably another multi-millions from sponsorship deals and other things. So imagine, girls, you have $10 million a year coming in from YouTube. My cost of living each year, like my general expenses, if I include child support plus kind of my monthly expenses, we'll call it, just a second, I'm going to pause and pull it up. Okay, depending on the month, it's anywhere between $5,000 to $6,000 is my monthly expenses. Okay, at $6,000, that's $72,000 a year. So if you're making $10 million and you're keeping roughly $5 million because of high taxes, let's just call it $5 million. You've got $4,900,000 and $940,000-ish dollars to do whatever you want with. And if you invest a few million each year in good investments and dividend stocks and all the things you can invest in, then you have a few $1,000,000 to give back. So when That Was Epic goes and pays $1,200 for someone's rent, that's not a big stretch for him. It's like me giving someone $5. Probably not even that. It's like me giving someone $1. That $1,200 for him is like me giving someone $1. So, and then sometimes he'll buy people a car. He'll just take $10,000 and hand out $100 to random people, to 100 people. And man, I would love to do that. I've got a long ways to go before the financial pile is that big. But if Tesla really does what I envision it can do, and I keep making good investments that do well, I have a chance. I have a chance at least. There's no guarantee. I may have to work the rest of my life, and you girls may not get a golden goose. You might get a copper goose that you need to kind of feed a little bit more throughout your life to make it a golden goose. But that's the dream life for me, is that there's this large pile of incoming resources coming in that allows you to live your life without worry, and you have a large pile to give back. You have a large pile to give back to society and to people. That's the reason for having a financial house that's in order. The first reason is to take care of yourself, to have the money to pay for medical bills, emergencies, new tires on your car, food, a leaky roof, anything that can and will happen in life. You need back surgery, whatever it is, girls. This is why you keep your financial house in order. The first reason. I would not have overcome Lyme disease if I did not have enough money to combat it. I spent a lot of money combating Lyme disease, probably upwards of $70,000. And I had to sell some investments to do it. But it let me overcome it. What would have happened if I had no resources, Ellie and Sienna, to overcome this sudden, difficult challenge? It would have been hard. It could have taken me out. I could have been taken out of life. So save. Take a portion of all you earn and keep it. Save some, invest some. Let's call this 30%. 30% of the dollar. Take another 50% of that dollar. That's going to pay for your expenses, your rent payment, your mortgage payment, wherever you're living, your food. You're either, by the time you're watching this, for your charging your electric vehicle, but maybe you have a gas car at the time, to pay for a phone, insurance, food, internet, supplies, paper towels, toilet paper, Netflix, Disney Plus, property taxes, various other taxes, going out to eat, going to clinics and getting IVs and stem cells. There's a lot of things, girls, that when you get older that you'll see as expenses. I'm just looking at my budget now to tell you what these are. So now you have 30% to expenses, 30% to save and invest, 50% for your expenses, and then you have this 20%. And by the way, these percentages are whatever you decide. Save, there's really 3 buckets. Save and invest, pay off your expenses, give back. These are the 3 buckets. And save and invest can also mean you put money into your own YouTube channel or your own business. That's also a possibility. So this final 20% is giving back. Sienna, you have this as 100% of your money right now because you just love giving back so much, and that's awesome. I love your giving back spirit, Sienna. But you do want to keep a portion of the money you get and not give it away. Just always remember that, Sienna. It's so important. And you know what? You're so talented and creative. You may find a way to live your entire life just giving everything you have and find a way to make it work. You might find a way to do that. And I wouldn't be surprised if you do. But you can make these percentages whatever you want. And if at some point you have a very large golden goose laying a lot of golden eggs, metaphorically speaking, you probably would have percentages of 1% expenses, 5 to 10% save and invest, 90% give back. It's quite possible. When I look at that was Epic and his channel, what he's probably making, his ratios are about that. And I wish more people who were wealthy were like that. I wish more people who were wealthy gave back and really became engaged in life with helping lift up the tide, so to speak. I know it's hard because it's very easy. You can make people become dependent and need your money and lose their ambition or desire to contribute and work. And that's a can of worms. Some people can't do that for physical and mental reasons, but you definitely don't want that to happen. I remember, Sienna, I was at your birthday party a little while ago and a couple weeks ago, and I had some extra money to give to these kids for some snacks from the vending machine, and then they just became like little baby birds, wanting more and more and more. And I don't know if that's the right thing or not to do, but maybe those kids will always remember that someone gave to them, and when they're older, that memory may stick. I don't know. But 2 primary reasons: to protect yourself against the inevitable surprises of life, some of which I've outlined. Number 2, so you can give back, so you can become a contributor and make a difference in this world in the way that makes sense to you. The way I give may not be the way you give in the future, girls, and I cannot force you to be givers of money or resources. I can only share what I'm doing. That's the purpose of these videos, is to share with you my lifestyle and approach. I plan on giving probably once a month, going to the Westerner and paying $100 for me and the next 19 people once a month. And to just start that habit, to start the snowball of giving, and then see what else I can do. Probably the next thing I'll do is each month take another 100 and pay for some people's gas. And now I have $200 of my pile, which isn't quite 20% of what I get, but it's getting there, that I'm giving. So this is for your own protection, girls, from life and its inevitable chaos and circumstances that come. And it gives you choice of where to live, choice of what to do. Choice is important. I don't have a ton of choice right now of where to live. I am your guardian and parent, girls, but when you both are 18, I'll have the choice to move possibly, or do various different things. And once I see the financial pile get to a certain point, I'll have the choice to retire from work. I don't know if I will, but I'll have the choice. And there's something to be said for having the choice of whether to work or not. But you don't want to just stop working and do nothing all day, lest you decay and die from a lack of action and movement. You don't want that to happen either. So to protect yourself, give yourself choice in life, to give back and serve your fellow humans. These are some very worthwhile reasons. When you have your house in order and you host an event, let's say you're hosting a party for friends, you don't need to tell those friends to bring anything. You just say, come show up, friends. I got food and entertainment taken care of. What a good feeling that is, that you've taken care of everything, the whole thing. So that's a beautiful thing. You will never need from anyone. You never want to be someone else be your master financially. Right now I have a mortgage on this condo, and that means I owe money every month for this condo. I have to pay someone, or I will lose where I live. That's not exactly the most exciting prospect, to lose where you live. Ugh. I don't know about you, but I don't want that scenario. So I think about that, and a lot of what I do is to prevent that from happening. So you girls have your rooms, and you have a place to stay when you're here. It's important to me. Let's see. So to protect yourself, give you choice, give back to others. My monitor is my light, so when it gets dark like that, it means the monitor went off. To give back and to have a lifestyle that is everything you could dream of. I've tried to think about what would I do if I had a financial pile like that was epic. If I had a YouTube channel with 6 million subscribers, and through all the advertising deals and possibilities, I was bringing home $5 million after all taxes. I don't know if that's what he's bringing in. It could be even more. What would I do? Oh, it's an interesting question, because my life is so driven by my work right now, girls. It's a necessity. I almost feel like the day I don't have to work and I stop working, I'm going to kind of like, oh, what do I do? So I'm trying to figure that out now. But I think it's a lot of the fun things I like to do: yoga, dancing, my journey of personal growth and discovery, doing things that resonate with me in life, serving others, giving back to others, giving large sums of money to causes I believe in. There's a research institution in somewhere near Seattle, Washington, called Fred Hutch Research Center. There's a guy, Keith Jerome, and his team are actually working to cure, or at least mostly cure, the herpes simplex virus. Just as one thing they're doing. That's the virus that I got at 40 years of age, girls, that I get cold sores and cuts and all sorts of stuff happening in my mouth now that I never had before. They're working on curing it, and the way they're going to cure it is through, just to kind of summarize it, because technically I don't understand it, but they have a way, they're developing a way to transport something to the neurons where the virus stays latent. The virus hides in like these nerve cells. It's called the nerve ganglia, I believe. So when you get a tingle, it's because the virus is activating and coming down the nerves to where it entered originally. And the virus entered me originally because I kissed someone who had a little bit of a cold sore that I didn't know what it was at the time. That's how I got it. And it would be kind of nice to not have this virus anymore. And knowing that in 5 to 10 years, this clinic could cure the herpes simplex virus. And there's also herpes simplex number 2. Generally, you get that on your groin area. And so it's like, it's not the most exciting thing to have a herpes simplex virus. However, if your immune system is strong, you should never have any real symptoms of it. So, but that's the previous video. Go back to the physical health and emotional health. So that's a cause I believe in. Someone donated $250,000 to that cause, girls. An anonymous donor. And then you have a bunch of people from Honeycomb, it's a herpes site, donating $10, $20, $50, $100 because they're afflicted with it and having challenges with it. Some people have herpes and they're constantly getting cold sores. Like, I don't have any right now. I have a little bit of a cut right there right now, just a little bit of tenderness, a small cut. That's pretty normal for me, something that happens pretty much weekly. So while annoying, it's not life destroying, but imagine someone who's getting big sores all the time on their mouth or on their genitals, and it's constant. Someone like that needs a cure, and they need it now. And there's other diseases, HIV and Lyme disease, that I had in 2018, 2019, and who knows, maybe I still have it now, but I think I've cured it through various means. I think I have. I don't know, but I think I have. So those are causes I'd like to give millions of dollars to. What a great feeling it would be to know that I helped accelerate the research for a cure for a disease. That would be awesome. I'd feel like I made a difference in this life. So that's important to me. I'd want to go travel to to places around the world that I've never been. I want to go to Singapore. I mean, I can do that now. I can just take a week off of work and do it. But I'm saying the true freedom to really travel around and experience life as a wizard, where I can kind of just conjure up almost any idea and go make it happen. That's what That Was Epic guy does. His lifestyle is incredible. He just goes around filming YouTube videos and helping people, or doing various social experiments that are interesting and challenging for him. The lifestyle, that's something you girls will figure out for yourself. You like things that are different than I do. You like music and songs that are different than what I like, because you have your whole generation that you're growing up with. But I hope that assuming I can create a golden goose for each of you girls, that the lifestyle you choose will involve contribution in some way. That's my hope. It's not an expectation. You girls will do whatever you wish with the golden goose, even kill it and just milk it till it dies, which means you utilize all the resources and there's nothing left to grow and self-sustain. I don't recommend that, but there is no condition placed on my goal of leaving this legacy for you girls. So let's see if I can recap these 4 aspects of keeping your house in order to protect yourself from the challenges of life, to give you choice, to do the things you wish, to give you the ability to give back, and the ability to have a lifestyle that is whatever you desire. And that's my hope for you girls, that you'll be good financial stewards of keeping your house in order. And that's a big part of keeping your house in order is the financial part of it. It affects everything in life. It affects everything in life. If you have an abundance of resources, many stresses go away. And the other part of keeping your house in order is taking care of yourself in the 4 areas I described in the last video. So I won't go over those again. You can just rewatch that video. So if you take care of yourself in those 4 areas and you create a strong financial house where you protect yourself, you have choice, you're able to give back large amounts, and you can create a lifestyle of anything you want to do. That kind of ties in with choice. But to me, lifestyle means you have so much choice. Choice just means I can live in my condo, and I could move if I wanted to. I'm not going to. I can go to yoga classes. I can play basketball. But the lifestyle is anything you can dream of. It's almost like you're a wizard or a genie in this world. And you can be that way without money, of course, by things I'll go over in future videos. All right, girls. I appreciate you, Ellie. I appreciate you, Sienna. Remember, keep a portion of all that you earn. Keep it. And always have a monthly budget. Every day, not every day, but almost every day, I go over my monthly budget. I'm putting in things I'm spending and tracking my income and expenses. So having a monthly budget is incredibly important. Before each year, I have a yearly plan. I basically live the entire year with all the expenses and money I expect to make. And I see the year as if I have lived it, and I know what the numbers roughly should look like. It never works out exactly like I've planned, but generally a lot of it does line up. And as I've done this is my 2nd year doing it. I'm sure my 3rd year I'll have learned things from the first 2 years that lets me become even more accurate. And so keep a monthly budget. Learn how to do a spreadsheet, girls. I know it's not the most exciting thing to hear at 15 and 12 years old, but at 30 years old or 40 years old, it becomes a little more important. The ability to use a spreadsheet and enter numbers and track and understand your financial house, incredibly important. And then I have a spreadsheet for the investments and understanding and tracking my investments and net worth. Your net worth is just the total sum of all your resources and assets minus all the liabilities and debts and things you have. That's it. Know that number. have a target for that number. I'm going to share my target net worth. My target net worth for retirement age at $65. And this number may seem kind of crazy, but my target net worth number for age 65 is $37 million. I am nowhere near that. I'm not even at $1 million right now. But through the power of compounding and this pile that starts to grow itself, the more you contribute to the pile, the more it's like a snowball that starts to grow and grow. And a lot of this is dependent if Tesla truly becomes the generational and globally impactful company that I believe it can be. But 37 million is the target by age 65. And, 37 million may be worth about half that. So it's really like 18 million in today's money. But if I achieve that, it'll be a monumental feat beyond my comprehension. And I will truly be humbled and grateful to get to that point. For some people, that's a tremendous amount of money. For others, it's not much. For Elon Musk, 37 million is not that much when you have 200 billion worth of Tesla stock. Which by the time things go right by 65, he'll probably have $200 trillion worth of Tesla stock. So track that, know that number, use your financial resources as soldiers, maybe is a good way to put it, as teammates to make change in this world. The world is run on currency and finance. It's just the reality of things, and that may change in the world, adapt to whatever the changing order is in the future. I don't know what that's going to be, but there's a YouTube video called The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio, D-A-L-I-O, Ray, R-A-Y. Watch that video and see if it resonates with you. All right, this is kind of long, girls. This video I think is longer than the last one. But have a strong financial house as pillar 1. Pillar 2 is the 4 aspects of taking care of yourself. And if I come up with more about keeping your house in order, then I'll say it. I mean, wherever you live, take care of it. Keep it up to date. Keep repairs up to date. Don't let things get too crazy. Don't let weeds grow for too long. Don't let things that are broken stay broken for too long. Otherwise, you're going to have a monumental problem to overcome instead of a minor nuisance. All right, Ellie and Sienna, I'm starting to lose my voice from talking so much. I haven't talked this much in a very long time, but I wanted to do this video. I am feeling very urgent and inspired to do these videos, and I will keep doing them. It's pretty late now, almost 11 p.m., so I'm going to head to bed. But part of me wants to say, do you have any questions, girls? So let's do a quick Q&A. Let's see. What kinds of things do I invest in or save and invest in? Is that your question? All right, if that's one of your questions, then I will share with you. I'm looking at my computer now, and I'm going to share with you the various things that I'm investing in as of 2022. My condo is an asset. There is a market value of my condo, and right now it's worth $522,000, which is very crazy. It's gone up $15,000 in like a week. That's nuts. I have a bank account with my money that I have a debit card for. I have a small amount of U.S. bonds and treasuries. There's these I bonds that are guaranteed to return 7% a year for a while, for 30 years, I think. The government's guaranteeing that, if you believe the government's going to be around in 30 years. I have a TD Ameritrade stock account, girls, and that's where the majority of my Tesla stock is. And that stock's not worth a ton now, but it's also not minuscule either. And I hope one day that Tesla stock becomes generational wealth for you girls. I have some Coinbase cryptocurrency. That's another asset. I do believe cryptocurrency is going to overtake traditional currency one day. I have a 401k from my employer, and this 401k just simply has one thing in it, mostly one thing, like 99% of it is a mutual fund called VFIAX. It's just the S&P 500. It's Vanguard is a company that manages a fund, and the top 500 stocks in the world are in the S&P 500, and it's like a basket of these stocks, and you buy into this fund. I won't get into much more details than that. I have a small amount of money in a Roth IRA. This is a non-taxable account, and it just has one fund in there, GK Gerber Kawasaki. Right now it just has one fund in there. It's just kind of another place to park a little bit of money, but it's not much. I have some real estate with Fundrise, girls. Fundrise is a way to crowdsource real estate. So it's kind of like buying into, like, let's say there's a $1 million property, a set of properties that are going to be rented out. Most of us can't afford that $1 million, but 1 million people can afford $1, and they can afford, and then the rent payments get distributed amongst whoever bought into it at what percentages. Think of it like that way. And so I have a small amount of money in Fundrise. It's medium sized now. It's nowhere near what my 401k is or the Tesla stock is, but it's getting there. It's doesn't have arms and legs yet, but it has some cells. It's an amoeba. It's beyond an amoeba. It's kind of a multi-celled organism with maybe starting to grow like a little snout or something. I don't know how to describe it. I have some stock with my employer, not a lot. They're called restricted stock units, but if I can maintain my employment for 20 years, this stock will be a decent amount of money. And if the company I work for goes public or is bought out, then I get some cash from that stock. So that's an option for your future, girls. If you want to work for a publicly traded company or a large company, you get equity as an employee. And as the company does well, especially if you help contribute, you get stock that can be worth quite a lot of money, especially if you start at a company early before it becomes public. Last asset is a health savings account. This is money in a tax-free account, assuming I only use this account for qualified medical expenses. And there's a small amount of money there. And then the rest of it is in that HSA. I would say a good 80% of it is invested in various bonds and stocks and things to not just sit there as cash, because inflation makes cash worth less over time. My current debts are my condo and my credit card. I always pay my credit card off every month, but my only debt right now is my condo. So I have a mortgage payment, but I still have a lot of expenses each month. Even with just my condo as my only debt, I still have to pay for food, electricity, gas, and maintenance on the car, and child support, and a bunch of other things. So it's not like I have to be very disciplined with my money still, but at some point in time, the stress of these expenses will hopefully go away. The dream and the goal is for the expenses that are like 50% of my income right now to become 5% of my income. That's a lot better place to be. It's a lot less stressful. So keep track of those things, girls. And at 15 and 12, when I was 15, I didn't have a clue about any of this. So you'll probably be watching this when you're much older and becoming curious about various things. Okay, girls. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, Ellie and Sienna, and potentially anyone else, thanks for listening to my various ramblings. And there's a lot more asset classes and things you can get than what I have. I listed off 10 different asset classes that I own. So that's good. You want to have multiple streams of revenue and income, even though most of mine are really small, like my Roth IRA and the US bonds and treasuries and my cryptocurrency. But seek to grow multiple assets so you have some diversity. For most of us mortals, having a large diverse pool of assets is good. For the geniuses in the world, which I am not, you can put your money into one thing and maybe do pretty well because you understand it so well. Namaste, Ellie and Sienna. I love you so much. This is the financial part of and keeping your house in order, as well as keeping everything repaired and up to date wherever you live, and following the 4 steps that I described in the previous video. Keeping your physical, emotional, spiritual, and intellectual health in tip-top shape. And now I'm going to stretch my neck and go to bed. Namaste. I'll see you in the next video.